We're less than a week away from Christmas, and like you do the thing where you look at your tree when you're a kid and there's some gifts under it, and the next day you go back and there's more gifts under the tree, and then you go back the next day and the pile of gifts continues to grow. I hope that was your experience as a kid. That's the experience of the Auburn portal class right now, because they just keep adding guys. He's Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. This is Village Vice. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. Two promo codes. Two codes. TNR Casino is going to give you a 300% sign-up bonus in the casino. And the promo code next round gives you a 50% sign-up bonus in the sportsbook. So if you prefer the casino, TNR Casino. If you prefer the sportsbook, next round. If you like both, do both.
Wow.
mybookie.ag. We're and people around here, not or. So it's like, do you want to add a defensive lineman or a linebacker? And. Yeah.
What about a massive wide receiver?
And. Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Put them in a box. Put them under the tree.
I like Horatio a lot. Yeah. Auburn adds a dynamic, or I think a surprisingly versatile wide receiver via the portal from Wake Forest. Horatio Fields. I like what we've seen of him so far. And he's got the big frame that you want, 6'3", over 200 pounds, and he moves super well for that size. And it screams, okay, Hugh Freeze outside wide receiver. That's what we saw at Ole Miss, is what we talked about for the last two off seasons leading into his season since he's been here at Auburn. And it kind of ties parallels to Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson and Camden Brown and KLS to some extent. But this is a guy who also played over 100 snaps in the slot at Wake last year. And I think when there's so many questions on like, how are all these talented receivers going to get targets and going to get on the field, I think that's an interesting component in all of this.
Yeah, I agree. He played in 10 games. Wake, by the way, had an interesting year. They're about 4 plays away from having 8 wins instead of 4. They lost a lot of really close games. That sound familiar?
Yeah, it does.
And in the game, so he had 39 catches in 10 games, an average of almost 4 catches a game. In every game except one, he had 3 or more catches. So he was consistent throughout the season. So I like that. Give you a big body in the slot or on the outside, use speed, run routes well. And we've talked about the template that was kind of set by this offense. The Auburn receiver room is an attractive place to be. You've got talent that's going to balance the field. Nobody's going to be double covered consistently. Or if they are, you're going to have loads of opportunities.
Can I push back on that a second? Because I've seen a lot of people say that pre-Horatio signing about, man, this would be a great opportunity for an Auburn or for a receiver to go into because of the attention Cam Coleman is going to get in this offense. I agree with that for whoever you're pitching to be the number 2 receiver in the offense, because I think there's going to be Cam Coleman, who's wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Whoever wide receiver 2 is, you could tell me it's Horatio. You could tell me it's a guy they haven't added yet. You could tell me it's Perry, Malcolm, whoever wide receiver 2 is. And then I think there's going to be a collection of 4 or 5 guys that are all within 100 yards of each other that are option 3 through 6 or 7.
Okay.
So I think it just kind of depends on what you're being sold as a transfer target.
That's not typical, though, in offenses. Is that based on simply like talent, or is that based on, I don't know, a feeling about the way that they're going to use the receivers this year? Typically, you're looking at 3 guys. The 4th isn't really going to be close to the 3rd, and then the 5th really isn't going to be close to the 4th, which is why you always have so much turnover at the receiver position.
Yeah, so I think I'm kind of expecting Cam Coleman to take a big step, and then whoever is number 2 to have a similar season statistically that Cam Coleman had. So KLS had 981. Cam Coleman was 2 shy of 600, so we'll say 600. But then like the next group of Malcolm Simmons, Rivaldo Fairweather, Jarquez Hunter, Robert Lewis, like they range from 450 to 150. Perry had 126, though a lot of that was on one catch, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah,
still, I think the guys on the lower end of that are going to be slightly elevated, while the guys in the upper part of that chunk of the pecking order of last year's receiving yard production is going to stay about the same. So I think you're going to have a handful of guys that are around 200, 300, maybe 400 yards. And I think you're going to have Cam Coleman and whoever is wide receiver 2 be closer to 1,000. I don't think that's an unusual thing based off of last year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, just looking at the receivers, the drop off from 3 to 4 in wide receivers was pretty drastic. You go from Malcolm's 451 to Robert Lewis's 155.
Yeah, but the way Rivaldo was used was as a receiver. You can't skip over Rivaldo.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. There were some sets,
especially with us talking about Horatio, because I think there's a solid chance Horatio gets some of those big slot snaps that Rivaldo was leaving behind.
That's fair. I want to see what they do at the tight end spot in the portal. I do think they still add a tight end. Now, is he a primary?
You have to.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
Is he a primary pass catcher, or is he more of a lumbering run blocker kind of guy? I think this is an interesting take on this conversation. Malcolm had 40 catches. Cam had 37. KLS had 50.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, about 130. Rivaldo had 31. That's 160. All right, so let's go 160 among your top 4 receivers. And Cam's best games were toward the end of the year.
Sure, no question.
If the commitment had been made earlier in the year to throw it to Cam in a more intentional way, does KLS have fewer catches? Does Rivaldo have fewer catches? Or who is impacted? What do the numbers look like if they had taken the same approach to the first 8 games that they took to the last 4?
Yeah, and it does seem like Rivaldo got better later in the year as well. It almost seemed like when Cam Coleman had better games, Rivaldo had better games, which I don't think is unusual when the offense was rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody seemed to play better. Shocker.
Yeah.
But that was also kind of the nature of it, right? Like you brought in a KLS to be ready right away because you didn't know how long these freshmen were going to take to acclimate, and then everybody got better over the course of the season. And it's not that KLS dropped off; it's just the other guys kind of got closer. From a stat standpoint, though, I can't imagine, and that's just how a season works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, very few people are going to have a similar stat line the first 3 games of the year versus the last 3 games of the year.
Yeah, right.
And with a new quarterback, it's going to be the same way this upcoming year too.
Right. I just think that if Cam is now proven that he's good at this level, and then you bring in, or whoever your number 2 is next year, whether it's a guy who's currently on the roster, or is it a Singleton, or is it, somebody else? Is it Fields? Maybe. I think your drop off between 3 and 4, I'm expecting it to be larger next year than it was last year, because I think you're going to see Cam and whoever, whether Cam's 1, somebody else is 2, or somebody else is 1 and Cam's 2.
Sure. Right.
I think those are your primary guys. And then there is a bit of a drop off there.
So you're saying a larger drop off from 2 to 3?
No, I'm going to say 4 through. A larger 1, 2, 3, and then the drop off from 1.
So
2,
we're disagreeing
3.
where the drop. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
We're just disagreeing where the drop off is. You're saying it's after 3. I'm saying it's after 2.
Yeah, I think so. I think that 4.
It took us a while to get there.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
but was the journey worth it?
Yeah, of course it was. It always is.
Maybe the drop off were the friends we made along the way.
The drop off that we have each episode is getting less and less. I know that.
So funny. People love it. I feel like the show's gotten significantly worse, but people love it. People love it when we just talk about other stuff. How about that?
We're not talking about other stuff. What are you talking about? You've had a long day.
Dude, I've had a brutal week. Just totally on. Not that anybody cares. But here we are.
You're supposed to be on vacation too.
Oh, yeah, I'm not working today. Believe it or not. I'm off. Somehow.
Oh, but man, oh, man, don't I look good, Got the old...
Are you wearing the row back?
Right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's what's crazy about this.
Okay.
Is folks watching or listening, you can order that. And
Just
you don't
very
have to pay full price.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not speaking on behalf of Roback here, but I bet you could get it before Christmas.
Ooh.
Not a guarantee.
I don't know.
Not a guarantee, but it is wishful thinking. RHOBACK, Roback.com. You can order the best looking quarter zips, the best looking polos, the best looking Brad Law is so confident with himself. He is winking to people that are off screen.
Yeah.
Where does that confidence come from? I mean, it's who he is, but Roback definitely adds to it. RHOBACK.com, Roback.com. Use promo code VICE20 for 20% off your order, and you too can wink at people off screen like Brad Law.
Wink at people off screen. Hey, Auburn's added some depth on defense too. It's good.
Yeah.
We're off the rails. We're halfway through. You need a nap. You need a nap or the playoff to start. So linebacker, interior defensive line. You know, they're getting all the groups now. Like they've added 2 tackles on the offensive line. They've added a receiver, they've added a quarterback, added a running back, still need to add a tight end. You've added a safety, you've added a corner, you've now added a linebacker, and you've added an interior lineman.
Yes. I think the level of impact varies dramatically based off of who we're talking about.
Yes.
But yes, I like most of them make a ton of sense. So Xavier Atkins, the young linebacker, former LSU linebacker, very athletic, moves well for his size, probably needs to add a little bit of weight depending on how they want to use him. If they want to use him as like a Mike linebacker, I think you probably got to put a little bit more size on him.
For sure.
Or do they keep him off ball? I don't know. That might be one of the reasons why DJ Durkin's so intrigued by him. But excited to see what he can do. The timing from an eligibility standpoint is interesting to me. Talking to LSU folks, he would have been the 4th or 5th guy in their linebacker room, assuming Harold Perkins returns to LSU, which that's kind of what the buzz is
right
down there. And he's probably not the 5th linebacker in the room, but if they do add a veteran linebacker, which I think most people are expecting them to do, so I'd be shocked if they didn't.
Yeah.
Transfer linebacker, Robert Woodyard, DeMarcus Riddick,
DJ Barber.
I like DJ Barber more, but we didn't see him that much. Yeah. So then it's like he's 4th or 5th, depending on your opinion of DJ Barber versus Xavier Atkins. So is the situation that different? I don't know. So that makes me wonder, like, is his role different under Durkin than it was at LSU? That's all. This is pure speculation. But if that's the main reason he reportedly left, it's not that different of a situation here.
I will say there does appear to be a lot of buzz about playing in a DJ Durkin defense.
I'm with you. The players like it.
But by the way, what role does Elijah Melendez play this year in the defense? I mean, is he coming in
backup
ready?
Linebacker?
Maybe not game 1, but like, you know.
I think the way he'll be used is like just a thumper.
Yeah.
It's probably easier to get on the field than like versus what DeMarcus Riddick did a year ago, because he just like, I'm more athletic than you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's Melendez's game. I think Melendez's game is like, you're not going to get past me, and I want to hurt you.
Yeah. There's a place for that.
Yeah.
There's a place for that on the field.
Yeah. Give me like 3 of those guys every class, please.
Yeah. But speaking of DJ Durkin and this Dallas Walker the 4th, not Wade Taylor the 4th. That's who I want to refer every single time I talk about this defensive lineman from Western Kentucky, because he was originally with A&M, and Wade Taylor the 4th is the point guard at A&M. I want to call him Wade Taylor, but he's not.
Cunningham, the 5-star receiver that just signed in this class.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying his full name because I'm not confident I'm going to get it right. But I always said Caleb Cunningham and Cade Cunningham. I always called him Cade Cunningham.
Oh, yeah.
But his name's Cade. Or do I have it mixed up? I don't remember.
No, it was Caleb.
Still is.
It still is. Yeah,
Still
he didn't
is.
change it. He didn't change it.
But I always called him Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
Because I think he plays in the NBA.
I called Joe Phillips Joe Frazier for a solid 4 months. We had to stop a show once. Very rarely do we stop a show as
yeah, because clearly quality control is not our thing.
You guys can attest to the fact that we don't stop, but we just keep the mistakes in and keep going. But we were talking about guys we were excited about seeing, and I've just so confidently threw my shoulders back. I'll tell you who I'm excited for, Joe Frazier.
What? Who?
Who are you talking about? So, Dallas Walker the fourth.
Yeah.
And
I think Dallas Walker the fourth serves a very clear purpose of not an all SEC type player, but a player you need and a player that makes your defensive line room better and deeper. And
yeah,
folks are like nitpicking on like certain games or whatever. It's like, yeah, like he's not great. He's solid, and Auburn needs more bodies in the defensive line room. Like, yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
It's
Look,
addition.
solid and a depth piece at Auburn would be a very good player on a D-line in a lot of other places. So
sure, that's fine. Yeah.
But to me, it doesn't say as much about necessarily anything tangible on the field this year. What it says is guys love playing for DJ Durkin.
You could say that the players, as they talk amongst each other, that the DJ got us falling in love again.
I think that about does it for today's show. That's what you do to me, so I thought I would try to do it to you. But you're right that, like, when guys talk, they talk about playing for the... I admire that. I admire that confidence. Can you give us a little beatbox with it?
Not today. Oh my gosh.
What a weird show this is.
I'm such in a weird place right now.
It's Thursday. Hey, especially in the afternoon. Especially when it gets to be later in the day.
Sure.
You got no clue what's coming out of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
We may need to record this time every time.
Nope. This is a pretty inconvenient time. I'm not going to lie to you. Just personally, not a good time of day.
Well, I get it.
But you had a meeting or something, which is fine. We're a team here. We make sacrifices for each other.
All right.
What does Auburn need to add in the portal next?
Kicker.
I don't think they're going to add a kicker. That's what all the reports have been.
I'm saying I think they should. I'm not predicting what's next.
I should have asked a clearer question.
I think it would be wise for planning.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be. I agree with you. I think that would make sense. Do you think they sign another quarterback?
No. If I had to predict, I would say no.
I think they do.
Okay.
I think they do.
Well,
and that's going to be wild.
Yeah, because you got a couple of real extremes that you could go for your options there.
Yeah, they'll probably sign a redshirt sophomore too, because that's like the age of everybody on our team.
Seniors? We don't need no stinking seniors.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're over. You're 21. No, thanks.
The heck is Steve Sarkisian talking about 28 and 29-year-olds playing? We got all 20s.
No, if you're not a freshman, a sophomore, a redshirt sophomore, we're not interested.
I tell you what, if you can buy alcohol legally, we do not have a spot for you in the quarterback room. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. I think another receiver comes soon.
I do too. Yeah. Tight end.
Searcy, the edge rusher out of Florida. He's coming to visit. If he signs, he will probably be my favorite player in this transfer class.
Really?
Outside of the punter.
Okay. Interesting. That's really interesting. You really like him then.
I do, and I like his role.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't have too many pass rushers. I think it allows you to do different things on 3rd and long, which is where we struggled a lot defensively a year ago, as far as, just giving up ridiculous things on 3rd down. If you get to the quarterback on a more consistent basis and you just kind of present more threats as far as what an offense has to be responsible for,
Is he a McLeod? Is he a McLeod replacement, or does Crawford move?
I think
up
he's
into
a
that
Keyron
role?
replacement, and
Yeah.
Keyron becomes the J-Mac. So,
Okay.
and then it also allows you some flexibility of, is Joe Phillips ready?
Yeah.
Jamonte Waller, like, is his foot okay? Amaris Williams, if he takes the step that he needs to, like, he's a little bit, seriously, he's a little bit larger than Keyron.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe in third and long, you could put him at end if you needed to. Like, I just think it allows you to do more up front, especially if they don't get as many defensive tackles as they want, and you can scoot Keldrick inside in third and long as well. I think that helps.
I didn't do it again.
Oh, I thought you did.
My
bad.
No, I looked. I didn't wink again.
Got it. I always assume you're winking. I don't know why.
Well, that's okay. How significant on the plus side is Auburn's portal situation right now? Like if you put the incoming players on one side of the scale and the outgoing players on the other side of the scale.
Now, are we talking guys who entered the portal or guys who are just gone?
Guys who entered the portal.
Because the reason I asked, like, running back, nobody's portaled yet, but like, you lost Jarquez.
Right. I don't mean net loss or gain. I mean, I'm talking specific portal net.
Okay. Does this exercise matter? I'll do it. I'm just asking, like, what the point is.
Just to kind of give you a snapshot of where we are right now. 13 guys have gone to the portal.
The biggest loss is TJ Lindsey?
Probably.
Some people are really upset about Walker White. I'm just not there. I like Walker. I wish Walker nothing but the best, but I don't think it like changes the program that Walker left. Some people really disagree. He may end up at Baylor, and then next year when he starts, like he lights it up. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think TJ Lindsey is the biggest loss. Then we can't overstate it, like the importance of losing Amaris and then getting him back. That's just insane.
Yeah,
and I think it's going to really get overlooked
because if he goes, that's far and away. The gap between he and TJ would have been significant.
Who else is like we lost it that matters? Like, I like Camden, and Caleb Burton, but they weren't parts of the offense.
Right.
Micah Riley, I liked him a lot.
That's fair. Yep, I like that pick.
That might be a larger loss than TJ Lindsey. Just because he was expected to take that step forward.
Yeah. And I like Darren Reed's potential.
He's still here, right?
No.
Darren Reed left?
Darren Reed is in the portal.
What?
Yep.
When did that happen?
This week.
How about that?
It's understandable that you'd miss stuff. I mean,
it's been a week.
It's been a week.
21 hours ago. How about that? Darren Reed's gone. I don't like that. I don't love that. Wow. I hate that. Okay.
So I would put that up there. Top 2 or 3.
That's interesting. They must be targeting more defensive linemen.
That would make sense, wouldn't it?
That would make sense.
Which
Boy,
again,
do they need them.
Which again is wild to think about, because when you think of who's out there officially.
Man, I've had like 3 different people tell me Darren Reed was the most talented guy on the defensive roster. He just could have never put it together.
Yeah.
I hope he puts it together wherever he goes. I really, really hope that.
Because the other option is, are there guys out there who have put it together and are still playing, so they haven't hit the portal yet? And that doesn't have to be playoff, but
I think in most of the cases I've heard, it is the playoff.
Yeah.
And that's just a scary way to live, man. Because what if you don't get them? Everybody else has a home. That's just it's a scary world to live in. But I do think we're playing that game. Like, I do think we're going after and kind of hoping certain folks that are in the playoff.
I do love that Auburn is being proactive in the portal. They're to go back and try to tie this together. At the beginning of the show, we talked about being and people.
Wow.
This year, it's very clearly not been about high school or portal recruiting. They've been very intentional about both.
Can I say something?
Please do.
I'm going to say something.
I wish you would.
Why is that? I thought this a few years ago when everybody was calling out Jimbo and A&M. When other fan bases diss your school for potentially paying players a lot of money and having access to a lot of resources, it's looked down on, and that's weird to me.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is it that way? It's like, sorry, we have resources to get and attract talent. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's not unexpected, but it is weird because that's the game now.
Is it just people being haters? Like, so many people, like,
Yeah.
I've done several like social media things that are about like, man, like, clearly, like, what's going on at Auburn? Clearly they believe in the future. And people are like, no, it's money. Like, other people are paying money too. Like, what do you mean?
If Auburn's the only school paying money, then
watch out. We're coming, baby.
Yeah. But there's a major difference. Like when Jimbo was doing it, it was still technically against the rules. It's not against the rules. It's part of the fabric of the rules now.
Yeah, that's back when NIL couldn't be used as like a recruiting metric or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Wink,
and now
wink.
that's thrown out the window. It's like, yeah, you can use it to recruit. It's like, okay, like, and all this stuff, everybody's got that number they're throwing around with like Jackson Arnold and all that stuff. It's like, I want everybody to see that. And a lot of the numbers that are being thrown out are like really inflated.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Whatever.
I don't care. I want y'all to think Auburn's got all the money in the world. I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing.
It's like you're flexing for somebody else.
Yeah, but like you also don't know you don't know who you're flexing for.
Yeah. Stop it.
All right. That does it for today's show.
It does. Thanks everybody for watching.
Wink to somebody off screen in your daily life today.
If you
just do it.
Hey, just comment if you made it through. I'm talking if you made it all the way to the end. Please comment give us a comment. Just let us know that you made it. You deserve like a bonus pass or extra tokens or
something. Sorry. It's been a week, fam. It's been a week.
For making it through the end. Man, we didn't get to basketball. We didn't get to the six, but we didn't get to the playoff. We didn't get to any of that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.